So I'm not gonna lie, when Rachel said she wanted a Hufflepuff theme for July, I was only very intimidated by the idea. I'm not really great at drawing animals, and I've never seen a badger before, so I wasn't really too sure how that was gonna work out, but despite my apprehensiveness, I actually think this one came together pretty well. As stated, yes, we are doing a Hufflepuff theme because Rachel is a Hufflepuff and July is her birthday month. So happy early birthday to Rachel. But here on our first page you can see I have the Hufflepuff crest on the left hand side, and then I have it mirrored on the right hand side but without the badger. One badger was going to be bad enough to draw, honestly. Like, animals are not my thing. As you can see though, I'm first going in with my 04 size micron pen to do all of the black outlining on our crest, and once that's in, then I'll go in with the colour. As can be expected, for the colour in this one we are using the Tombow dual brush markers. In particular, we're using black and yellow and grey, because, you know, you want to add some tone to the badger. The pen numbers can be found in the description box, but for the yellow I decided to go with 025, which is kind of a bit more golden than I think the Hufflepuff yellow actually is, but it's my favourite colour of yellow out of the Tombows. I find that the other ones are a little bit too bright. Not even too bright, I don't think that's the right description. You know those kind of yellows that kind of just look a little bit sickly because they're so bright? I'm explaining this badly, whatever. So I used the 025 for the yellow, and in terms of the black, that one, as can be expected, is the N15, because that's the black Tombow. But to make it so that our crest here had some dimension, I also opted in to use some grey as highlights. So for those ones we have the N75, the N55, and the N25. Using the combination of greys allowed me to add some dimension to our crest and kind of highlight different sections on our badger. I didn't want the badger or the crest to end up looking flat. I kind of wanted to give it that three-dimensional feel without going too hardcore into the shading. As can be expected though, this one did take me a hot minute. In fact, 60-ish minutes from first touch of the pen to final erasings. That of course doesn't include sketching in time or idea generation time. Sketching in time for this one though was more tracing in time. As I said, animal drawings, not my forte, and I knew that if I tried to freehand this in, or even just kind of freehand copy the reference image, he was gonna end up looking a little bit munted. And I didn't want that. This is Rachel's journal, it's special, we want to make sure it's nice for her. As can also be expected, I also traced in the crest that we have on the right hand side of the spread, so I found an excellent reference image just by doing a Google search of Hufflepuff crest, took the picture into Microsoft Word and then made a copy and flipped it to get the one that we have on the other side. The nice part about the crest is that because it has that little point at the top and the bottom, it made it pretty easy to line up with the center of the page. While we're doing some more colouring in, I figured I'd let you guys know about some Hufflepuff characteristics, which I just googled just now. And did you know that Hufflepuff is actually on dictionary.com? That was just an interesting tidbit, but anywho. So Hufflepuff characteristics include a strong sense of justice, loyalty, patience, and a propensity for hard work. Hufflepuffs are also seen as nice almost to a fault. And honestly, if those descriptors don't sound like Rachel, I have no idea what does. She is infinitely more patient than I am. Certainly no stranger to hard work. It's honestly amazing the amount of work that she does through her early childhood teaching. Like, I couldn't handle the jandal at all. And with regards to being nice to a fault, well, she certainly gives certain individuals more time of day than I ever would. That probably ties into the patience thing too. I, on the other hand, am a Ravenclaw, though technically when I took the Pottermore quiz, back when Pottermore was actually a thing, I was a hat stall between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. Hat stall being a term to describe when the sorting hat took more than 5 minutes to sort somebody based on their personality being equally suited to multiple Hogwarts houses. But since that Pottermore quiz, pretty much any sorting quiz that I've done has put me into the Ravenclaw category. In terms of the characteristics of a Ravenclaw, we've got a blurb here that says that Ravenclaws tend to be academically motivated and talented students, pride themselves on being original in their ideas and methods. I like to think that describes me pretty well. Going back to that hat stall idea, I always thought it was kinda cool that Minerva McGonagall and Phileas Flitwick, so Professor McGonagall and Professor Flitwick, were both hat stalls between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw, because that's the kind of hat stall that I was. And in particular, I kind of like that Flitwick got sorted into Ravenclaw and ended up being the head of Ravenclaw House, and at my school, I'm the head of my schoolhouse, though our colours are blue and silver rather than blue and bronze. I would love to know though, what Hogwarts house are you in, or what Hogwarts house do you align yourself with? I know they are technically a vast oversimplification of people's personalities, which are incredibly multifaceted, but I think it's a bit of fun. I grew up with Harry Potter, so I'm very much a fan. Not so much a fan of the author and some of their views, but the Harry Potter universe nonetheless, I am a fan of. That's my childhood, man. Wrapping up the final details on our quote page though, if you can consider this a quote page, I mean it is just one word, but moving on to the cover page, where we have July 2022 in the banner rather than Hufflepuff. This one was done in very much the same way that the first page was done. So putting in all of our black outlining using that Micron pen, and then going in with the Tombos to add the colour. In terms of timing from first touch of the pen to final erasings, this one came in at 45 minutes. So a little bit less time because I kind of knew what I was doing at this point. I didn't have to shade in a badger, and I have significantly less letters to write out for our title here. In terms of the lettering that I've done on both of these, the Hufflepuff one came from the reference image I was using, whereas the July I had to try and mimic the lettering style. So I'm not completely sold on it. I wasn't really too sure how to do the J in particular, and because the word was a lot shorter, I wasn't too sure how to center it on the banner, but I still think it turned out pretty well. Flipping over though, and it's time to set up the monthly log. As we do every month, Rachel's monthly log consists of a small calendar in the top left of the spread, a vertical style monthly log in the bottom of the left-hand page, so split into two columns, one with 16 days and one with 15 days, and then the page on the right is for her to write her monthly task list. You can see I'm making good use of my Zig Clean Color dot marker to add the dots to both of the monthly logs, so the mini calendar and the vertical style. This has fast become one of my favourite tools for bullet journaling. I very much recommend it to anybody because it's actually just so much fun to use and super convenient. For the lettering on the monthly log and the weekly spreads, rather than trying to recreate the lettering we had on the cover page, I opted in for a similar style that I could do with my calligraphy pen. This is a chisel tip pen from Artline, and is good for doing these kind of gothic style fonts, though mine is a super simplified gothic style. After approximately 15 minutes though, the monthly log was finished, and it was over and onto the weekly spreads. Each of the weekly setups in Rachel's journal takes the same style, so we have each of the sections on the left-hand side being for the days of the week, and then the space on the right for a task list. To add some decoration to our weeklies, and as you probably also saw on the monthly, I used some layered washi tape. These were mainly from the washi tape shop, so the lettering one and the one with the little kind of tartan pattern, those ones both being from the washi tape shop, whereas the yellow one was from Spotlight, which is my local craft store. Each of the weeklies took about 9 minutes from first touch of the pen to final erasings, but this doesn't include putting in those horizontal lines because I've already put them in for the entire of the journal. To tie the weeklies into the design that we had on our cover page, I've used little shield motifs to house the numbers for each day of the month, but overall a nice simple weekly spread. Flipping on back, as I said earlier, I'm really chuffed with how these pages turned out. The cover and quote page in particular were a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I think they turned out well. And it was fun getting to do some layering with washi tape, which is something that I don't do very often. And also try out using that calligraphy pen, which I do think I probably need more practice with, but the lettering turned out pretty okay. If you guys were still looking for more inspiration for bullet journal monthly setups, do be sure to check out the playlist that I have on the screen here. And if you are looking for July in particular, I have a playlist for that as well. As always team, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!